Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Good evening, sir. थोड़ा सा there is a voice is breaking.
Okay, ma'am. Just a moment.
Just a minute. Good evening, everybody. May I request all the participants to please switch on the cameras first? Hello, Dr. Garima. Good evening. How are you? You were on mute. So though I know that you were wishing me back, you were saying good evening. Right. I'm trying to find the presentation. Where is that? Give me a second. If I'm required to, I can show all windows. Not yet. Yes. Okay, so right. So good evening, everybody. Welcome to ICS and this next 4 weeks journey of wonderful learning. We hope you will enjoy each day of the session, and ICS is going to be there to support you at every step. In your best, try your best in everything that you do. Stay positive, have fun, and keep smiling. You are going to do great. You have joined this platform to be able to do well. How you are going to use ICS, and whether you are using Android or iOS, you have your application on your phone installed. You can also use it through your laptop system. Click on the live classes the way you have done today. The information about the live classes would also be uploaded on the chat box in the app itself. All the study material would be available in the library. Not only the presentations that are being shared with you, but also additional support reading material would be available. So please do visit the library and take the reference from there. And assignments would be uploaded in the assignment folder. You need to be uploading your assignment within the week's time. So assignment would be uploaded by Monday, and by Friday you should be trying to complete that. So before we move to the next topic of the next week, you are done with the previous week's learning and reflections. Nothing can be downloaded or no screenshots can be taken from the material that is posted there in the app and from the presentations. Recordings of the sessions would be provided only in case of emergency, and you need to inform ICS prior what is the challenge because of which you are not able to attend the classes, and it should be sent on official email ID of ICS through which you are communicating. After approval only it would be provided. So please don't take it for granted that if I miss the session I'll be able to get the recordings, because the impact of live sessions would not be available in the recordings. About the assignments, you can submit them in 1 week's time. Submit them either in Word or a PDF format. It would be considered for the providing you the certificate, your letter of appreciation, letter of recommendation when you are going to practice further, based on the quality of your assignment as well as your interaction and regularity during the sessions. So please keep your cameras on and keep responding and discussing and participating in the classroom sessions very interactively, that everything is being observed and you would be appreciated and acknowledged on that in your certificates and letters of appreciation. Attendance is very important. Please at least have, I would say 100%, but minimum 70% of attendance is mandatory in order to be eligible for certificate. If there is a reason for being absent for those remaining 30% of the time, please inform a reason in advance through via email. For your own privacy and safety, we encourage that please do not share your personal number even in the chat box there on your app. Unnecessarily don't use the chat box. You can contact your academic coordinator for any kind of queries, but please use it wisely, judiciously. For your own safety of your data and all other things, no personal phone number sharing is permissible in the app. For certificate, you would be informed about the procedure via the chat box in the app, your email and WhatsApp messages. Follow all the instructions which are given in the chat box of the app. We want to thank you for joining this program. We hope you will be getting most of this training. The ICS is a very beautiful platform, and it is going to give an opportunity through which you can actually enhance your skills, and you can get empowered to look at the because as a professional, if you are joining ICS counseling services, so it means you are going to provide mental or emotional support to the people who are having any kind of need. And we believe these sessions are going to help enhance your practical learnings about various methods that we are going to discuss with you. You can follow the ICS on these platforms, these LinkedIn, Facebook, and others. Okay, so it's a good thing that everybody is on camera. And before we proceed further, I'll give you my introduction. I'll see whether it is there in the slides there or not. Just a second. And then I'll begin with your introduction, because we need to know each other as a team. Yes, I have this. So let me share. So welcome to the masterclass, advanced practitioner course for cognitive behavior therapy skills. And we are going to learn CBT in detail in the next 4 weeks. About me, I am a doctorate in psychology. I've been working in the field of psychology, education, children, parents, adults for more than 15 years now. I have my own counseling center with the name Swaman in Gurugram. I'm on the panel of Manodarpan, a mental health service initiative by Ministry of Education, Government of India, and life member of Association of Rehab Counselors and Rehab Professionals and Parents. And I also written a book on screen addiction for the parents, because that is a growing concern of majority of us these days. As far as continuous education and learning is concerned, after my doctorate, I kept on working on enhancing my skills. So I am a trained CBT therapist, certified hypnotist, certified NLP master practitioner, and I also got green belt certification as global career counselor from UCLA and Univariety. So that was my introduction. Now I'll come back to this, and I would request all of you to talk about yourself and give me your introduction, because once we'll know each other, we'll know the background, we'll know Okay, we are having a group of people with mixed backgrounds, mixed interests, and I know all of you would be definitely interested in helping people with their emotional psychological issues. That is given. But other than that, what has been your experience? Whether you are having a psychology background, any education there in that field, or you are new to this field and want to learn everything in detail now, so please share about the background of yours, and then we'll begin the journey together. So, who is coming first? I think I should go in the sequence of the people who joined first. Okay, Aishwarya is coming first. I guess Aishwarya unmuted. Yes, Aishwarya, you can begin.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. Myself, Ashwarya. I'm undergrad student of psychology.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had done, this is my fourth therapy program with the ICS.
Okay. How are you finding the programs?
Oh, I'm very much, I'm liking it. That's why it's my fourth one.
Yes, that makes it very obvious that you are liking it so much that you are coming for the fourth one. And every program is unique and different, and it adds value in a
Yes,
different aspect.
yes, ma'am.
Right. Good. So are you? So you are in the final year of undergraduation.
I'm in second year.
Second year. Okay. From where are you doing it?
I'm doing it from IGNU.
Okay. Okay. And what do you plan to do after this?
I'm planning for joining grad school for clinical psychology.
Okay. Good. All the best. Who is coming
Thank
next?
you.
I think Akanksha. Yes.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Akansha Verma, and I've done my master's in health psychology from London. And at present, I'm pursuing MA clinical psychology from IGNU.
Okay. So after one master's, why another master's?
Ma'am, actually, they offered only 1 year of a course because back in UK, they offer only 1 year. And the kind of requirement I have, what I want to pursue, I wanted to do it in clinical.
Okay. So you are doing it from IGNU MA in clinical psychology.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So you want to practice
Like
as a clinical psychologist in India or in UK?
Ma'am, in India itself. I want to be here.
Okay. So if you need to practice as a clinical psychologist, are you planning to register yourself for MPhil in clinical psychology?
Yes, ma'am. Later on,
After
yes.
this. Okay.
Yes, 1 year is still
Okay.
left. Only 1 year has been done.
Right. Okay. Yes,
Yes,
Majida.
ma'am.
Welcome to ICS and welcome to this course. Majida and then Kamini. Right.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I just completed my master's in clinical psychology from IGNU. I've been working with Cambridge Rehabilitation Center in Abu Dhabi from past 3 years. I just want to enhance my skills in CBT, and I would like to work on other therapy courses. So I did a couple of certified courses like NLP, cupping therapy, and few other courses as well. That's it.
Okay. So how is the course of MA in clinical psychology? Because it's an then it would be an distance learning course from IGNU, right?
Yeah.
So how is the content? How were the classes? Were you getting some practical experience and exposure of the
Yeah. We had the internship. We should do an internship. So we joined internship course with Dr. Satish from Manipal.
Okay.
So that was really helpful because we got to know a lot of things about practicing therapy, taking assessments and everything. We got to learn a lot from him. So
Okay.
it was practical classes. So it helped a lot.
Fine. Okay. Thank you. Welcome to the course, Majida.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Kamini.
Hi everyone, I am Kamini. I had completed my MA in clinical psychology. Now I am like doing different courses, and as well as I have 5 years of clinical experience, under child psychologist. right now I am planning to do PhD, but still I'm trying to enhance my skills. I want to be sure before I go for the PhD and research work.
Okay. And you are not planning to do MPhil in clinical after your master's in clinical?
No.
Okay. You want to practice as a clinical psychologist. You have practiced as a clinical child psychologist without
Yeah.
RCI MPhil?
No, I did an internship. It was like working under her. So that's why I did not did anything like
So
that.
anytime
I
in
registered
future?
myself with RCI.
Say again.
I registered myself with RCI, DEd in special education. So through that also I can practice as a clinical psychology. So that's it.
As a special educator then.
Yeah.
Okay, so in future, if you want to become an independent clinical psychologist, you would be requiring MPhil or a doctorate from a recognized institute. So even for your doctorate, even if you're not doing MPhil, do a doctorate from university which is listed with RCI. Just make sure of that.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Yes, Miloni. You can put your hands down, Majidaji, and then Mansi. Yes, Miloni.
Hi, ma'am. My name is Meloni, and I'm currently doing my master's in clinical psychology from IGNOU, my second year going on. And I've done my master's in HR 5 years ago, and I've been working ever since. So along with work, I'm pursuing my master's and also proceeding with these sideline courses as well to build on my skills.
So you are working in HR field, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So you started working at a very young age. How is you must be having more learnings from your job work than
Absolutely. So it's very diversified. I mean, because of as an HR role, we meet so many people on a day-to-day basis. So I mean, it's like a everyday thing, trying to implement what you learn. Like you learn every day and eventually see it in the theories.
Yes. And how much impact you have seen of COVID on the mental health of people as an HR professional?
I think it has been bad, honestly. It's pushed back a lot of people, been a setback for people who run really well in their life, and increased the cases beyond imagination. So honestly, I don't think so. It was a very good idea. I mean, work from home for that matter. It's made life much more stressful. I mean, I work in a hospital environment, so for me it yet differs. But for those who are in a corporate environment and non-medical setup, it's very stressful, and their work-life balance and everything has gone for a complete toss.
Yes, and that's why the need for mental health therapists has gone up. And good that HR professionals are also coming into this, that, okay, let us know what are their needs, what could be their needs, and how can we offer help, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, I forgot the sequence, but now in the sequence in which I see other people, thank you, Miloni, for joining us in ICS. Now we move next to Saraswati, then Anish, and then Dhanishri. Please come on camera, Saraswati. Yes.
Yes, madam. Hello, my name is Harshiti Pragyan Shah. I am currently pursuing my PhD at Utkal University, Bhubaneswar. And for my research work, I just wanted to know the CBT course.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
From Kalinga University?
No, madam, from Utkal University.
Utkal, okay. And you have done your master's in psychology?
Yes, ma'am.
From the same university?
Yes, ma'am. I have also completed my MPhil degree from Utkal University.
Okay.
But now I am currently pursuing my PhD at Utkal University.
Okay. Sorry, I think Mansi pehle hand raise kar chuke the, right? Okay, sorry Mansi, I missed your turn. Okay, Mansi now.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, everyone. So I completed my master's in clinical psychology in December 2020. It was an integrated course, BA plus MA. So after that, I know I want to do MPhil, but I want to give myself some time to decide which particular field I want to choose. So I've been practicing as a counselor. Along with it, I've worked as a content reviewer as well as a subject expert with an education company. And right now I'm venturing courses as well to find where I actually fit in and gain more knowledge as much as I can.
From where you have done your education?
Ma'am, I completed my UG plus PG in Amity University, Noida.
Okay. Fine. Good. Now I said after that it would be, I think Saraswati told, then Anish.
Hi, good evening all.
Good
I
evening.
am Anish. I am from Kerala. I did my doctorate in social work, psychiatric social work, and I did my MPhil in psychiatric social work from National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, Bangalore. And I've been trained in CBT at that point of time. My life was doing my MPhil. Then I've been working with a number of companies in terms of EAP assistance. And right now I'm a professor of social work, but I've been part-time working with Human Dynamic Asia Pacific and Federal Bank India for their EAP services. And I've been offering services to clientele based on that services. So this is actually my refresher program, my continuing education initiative. I might be the odd one out in this whole group, whole psychology plus ladies. Good. So we'll have a learning experience together for the next few weeks. Thank you.
Welcome, Anish, and you are not the odd one out. You are rather the more resourceful person here, because you are adding value to this program and you are telling us from the perspective of your background and your qualification and your experience. You would be giving us great insights into the human behavior and how in the field, because psychiatric social work is closely related to what the therapist would be doing, right?
Yeah, I'm a registered mental health professional also with under the Mental Care Act.
Okay, good, good.
And I come with 20 years experience now. Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. You are a value addition to this cohort, and we are looking forward to contributions from you during the discussions when we are discussing cases. Okay, thank you, Dhanishri.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yeah. So I've done my masters from SNDT University, Churchgate, and after that I've done short courses of positive psychology, hypnotherapy, and then my family and marital psychology, and also I've done one course with ICS that was counseling practical internship. Recently, I've done that course. And yeah, and now I also wanted to do this course because it's very interesting and informative, and it would be very helpful for my professional purpose, because also I want to work as a professional counselor in the future. So it will be very helpful for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are gaining exposure of multiple kind of
Courses
therapies
and
and
therapies.
modalities through which you can help the clients as a counselor, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I like to learn new things, and also these are all interesting things.
Good.
Like
Keep up the
hypnotherapy.
spirit.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And look forward to see you in the sessions and interact with you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Manvi.
Hello, everyone. I'm pursuing Masters in Clinical Psychology from Amity University, Noida. So before my master's complete, I want to learn new techniques in clinical, like therapies. So.
Okay. So to add value to yourself and your understanding of the subject, you have joined this course, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So we are going to get fresh perspectives from you about the cases, and whatever, you are going to bring fresh energy to the whole discussion.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. Rohita.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rohita Salvi, and I'm from Mumbai. I have done my master's in human resource, and I'm currently working as a human resource professional in one of the organization in Mumbai. I have done my master's in psychology from IGNO, just recently completed, and I'm here to learn about CBTS.
Okay.
To start with the counseling, in which ways, I mean, in corporate, I have been doing it, but without any technical knowledge. So I am here to learn.
Welcome, Rohita. Now we have 3 HR professionals, because Anish is also working in the companies and corporates and doing the EAP, right? Employee enhance, what do you say? A is for employee assistance program, right?
Yeah.
Right. So the 3 HR professionals here, because adults also need mental health, mental well-being services, and it's really a positive sign that HR are coming into this field. Good.
Right, ma'am. Right.
Now we are left with Suhela, Radhika, and Dr. Garima. Though we know you, Dr. Garima, but the team would like to know you here, so we would be needing your introduction. And then Reyansh also. Who is coming first? Abhi 4 log reh gaye. Raise your hands, please. Naina ने भी join किया. Okay. धनश्री आप बता चुके हैं, आप अपना हैंड डाउन कर सकते हैं. थक गए होंगे, बहुत देर से हैंड रेज है आपका. सुहेला चलिए आप बताइए, आप सबसे पहले आए थे, है ना?
गुड इवनिंग मैम.
गुड
गुड
इवनिंग.
इवनिंग एवरीवन.
थोड़ी सी वॉइस आपकी लो है, आप डिस्टरबेंस है, थोड़ा ठीक से कनेक्ट कीजिए.
Am I audible?
बहुत वेरी लो, वेरी लो. Just remove the headphones and try talking.
Now how it is?
Still
Same?
Still the same actually.
I will log out then.
Okay. Akanksha, you don't write K in your spelling?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
It's AAKANSHA.
because there are people who spell Akanksha with a K in between, right? So Akanksha.
Yeah. So it's basically AA and the other K is gone.
Okay, it's because of some numerology.
I don't know. My mom dad kept it. I have no clue about that.
Okay.
But of course, yeah, I had a lot of disadvantages by being roll number 1 all throughout my life.
But here we did not go alphabetically. We just let everybody decide when one wants to speak. Yes, so let's try
Yeah.
once.
Am I audible now?
Yes, very much better.
So, ma'am, I have completed my master's from MIT University. Then I have taken 1 year break, in the sense I was doing my internship so that I can get my practical knowledge. So I was doing internship in counseling. So I got to know more about cognitive behavior therapy. So I thought to have more skill on it, to how to use with the clients, patients. And with that, I'm doing post like PG diploma in child development.
Okay.
So,
Fine. Good. Welcome to the course.
thank you.
And the course is going to benefit you as much as you're going to interact and participate in the discussions. Okay. Right. Radhika, you are joined with an alphabet M. So किसी और का ID होगा. It's fine. So Radhika, come on camera and tell us about yourself.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, we could hear you.
Am I audible?
You were audible, but you are not visible.
Just check.
Yes, now we can see you.
Yeah. Yeah, I am Radhika. Actually, it's the name of my daughter, so that's mentioned with it. M.
It's fine.
And, basically, I am a postgraduate, then my psychology from IGNOU. And I just wanted to learn about more practical knowledge about CBT. So that's why I'm here now.
Okay. So where are you planning to implement the knowledge of CBT?
Planning to have my own practice, actually.
Okay. Okay. Good. Welcome to the course.
Thank you.
Then we have Dr. Garima.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Dr. Garima. I'm from Udaipur, Rajasthan. I am master's in psychology, PhD in psychology, MBA in HR, and LLB. And I'm currently working as an HR professional in an IT company based out at Delhi, NCR. And as like I have done in psychology as well, like I want to actually switch on my role from HR to psychology. So I want to start up with my own practice. That's the reason I'm pursuing all these courses. So I've already done counseling practice. I mean, that first course from ICS. So it was very nice. That's the reason I'm here in the second course as cognitive behavior therapy. So
Thank you for
that's all
having that
about.
trust and joining us again.
And above all, I really like Deepti, ma'am. That's again the reason. She's very friendly. So you can ask all the queries to her, I mean, directly. That's the thing.
Thank
I
you.
mean,
The fourth
trainer
HR
again.
professional in the team today, huh?
Trainer again plays a very important role. Really, I
Thank you so
really
much.
think so.
You made my day today.
Most welcome.
Naina, I could see Naina there. Yes.
Yes. Good evening, ma'am, and good evening, everyone. Myself, Naina Jain. I'm RCI certified special educator. Presently, I am doing. I'm working as a special educator in CBSE school, Pune, Dr. D.Y. Patil Public School.
Okay.
And I'm here. I like to know about psychology, counseling, and that's why I'm here.
So we have D.Y. Patil University as well, right?
Yes.
How is the school and how do the students go to that university, or do you have any connection there? No single management as a kuch hai, independent working is a.
No, management single hai, but I'm only in school.
Okay. Good. So you are a special educator there.
Yes.
It's a CBSE school?
Yes.
And you offer therapies also to students? No.
No.
So do you have counselor who is offering therapies to students? Interventions?
No. Yes.
Okay.
What?
Do you have a counselor in school who provides therapy?
Yes. We have counselor.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Because usually, as we have seen in the counseling program earlier, the people who are into the field of special education, if the children's concerns remain undiagnosed, unaddressed, sometimes we just ignore them, and they get disguised under lack of interest, lack of motivation, and parents feel that they just need counseling and they do not realize the need of special education. But sometimes both the things are needed.
Yes,
A
we are
special
a team.
educator also needs to be a counselor.
Yes.
So welcome to the cohort that you are planning to enhance your skills in this field. Reyansh, yes, before I start talking about it, is Reyansh there? We could see that participant. Now I think he's not there. So we can begin with the course without taking more time. Please stay on camera because I keep expanding your window and coming back to the presentation to the window mode. I would like to see you all and know you and interact with you even if we are virtual. That is going to enhance the quality of our learning. If I forgot to invite anybody for introduction, please let me know. Raise your hand and we'll know you before we move forward. No hand raised. Okay. So let's begin with the CBT. And the first thing about CBT is when you change the way you look at things you look at change. Any reference you would like to give with this quote? Any idea that comes to your mind? Any experience that comes to your mind about whether it is true? Have you experienced it? Or have you helped somebody experience this thing? Just the change in the way you are looking at things.
Ma'am, yes, I have experienced this actually.
When and how?
This is on a personal front in my own relationship, wherein I had trust issues with a specific person, and so I thought to let go of things like how when you gift a car, you don't go checking the errand or the age of lower and over person. So I thought of knowing of things, and that really changed my relationship. It enhanced me and that person as well. So I think the change, that was the perspective basically, wherein I let go of that fact that, oh no, there's something wrong. Or the thought I was holding on to, I should say, for that matter.
great example given, because you are having a background change. So your voice was breaking, but I could get the gist of it. The moment you stop thinking about the person as having a wrong intention or something, the relationship improved, and the person's behavior also, you could notice positive changes there. Yes?
Yes,
Did I get
ma'am.
you right? Okay.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So similar things happen, and I would be frequently giving examples of children than adults, because children are very good examples of how change is very quickly visible with them, with every intervention that we apply to them. But on and off, we would also switch to adult population and their references. So for example, if you keep telling a child that you cannot do this, and be very careful, you would fall or you would not do it well, the child keeps thinking about himself that I am not capable, I might make a mistake, I would be cautious, I should be very careful and concerned, right? But the moment you say, oh no, you can do it, go ahead, very good, immediately this child starts thinking differently about himself, and the child goes ahead and goes forward with confidence that yes, I can do it, my parents have confidence in me. So the moment you start changing the way you are looking at the child himself starts thinking differently about the capabilities, and the level of confidence, the level of self-esteem changes. Similarly, the relationships, when till the time you would think negatively about a relationship, you would start collecting evidences which are supporting your thought process. Believe me, we find what we look for, and we look for things which are there in our mind to support our viewpoint. So the moment you would change your viewpoint about a particular situation, relationship, person, or the world, you would start collecting evidences which are going to support this new viewpoint of the situation. So that's how, after that, you would get more evidences, your new belief would start getting confirmed, and you would have the things would definitely change, because people would also start behaving or responding more positively to your changed perspective and your changed outlook. Okay. So CBT is actually giving people whom you are going to care and yourself the power of consciously changing your perspective. Consciously you're going to do that. It would not happen unconsciously कि अपने आप सब ठीक नहीं हो जाता है with time. You have to actually say to yourself, talk to yourself, and repeat those thoughts to yourself. So self-talk बहुत करना होता है. Why? Because thoughts are going to change. Thoughts, the way you think would affect how you feel in a given situation or a relationship, and that is going to impact how you're going to act in that situation. And then everything is interconnected, one thing leads to other, and it's vice versa. So your emotions also affect how you think in that situation and act in that situation. Sometimes we are emotional led, sometimes we are thoughts led. So if you feel a particular way, you would start thinking those kind of thoughts, and then the resulting behavior would be according to the thoughts and feelings you have. Similarly, if you think a particular way, you would have feelings according to that, and you would behave accordingly. And your behavior is definitely going to reinforce your thoughts and feelings about it. So now here I'll come to an example. An example would be of, I'll give you two examples rather. Maybe you would relate with one example more than the other. One is seeing a dog on the street. Okay. So there would be people who have pets and who love them, adore them as their own babies, and they become their parent, and they care for them, and they really have, a lot of affection for dogs. So even for the street dogs, they would have a lot of affection, right? They would approach them, the dogs would sense the positive vibes from them, and then the dogs are going to go close to them and wag their tails, and it is going to be a very positive interaction between the person and the dog. Yes? Whereas if the person since childhood has been taught, nahi uske paas nahi jana, he's a stray dog, he's not been vaccinated, he might bite you, he might hurt you, and there you might be seeing people and people warning their kids, or kids themselves getting scared of a dog because the child doesn't know how to react to this animal. I'm talking about a child who is maybe 5-6 years old, who is independently playing in the street, and he is independently countering and having an interaction and with the street dog, right? Because a very young child, 1 or 2 year old, doesn't have any fear in his mind. He would pick up the insect and play with it. He would pick up lizard, any mosquito, but flies, anything. He would just touch and explore the world. He would not have any fears. But a 5-6-year-old would have those fears created in his mind about we should not touch a few things, they might be harmful and all that. So the fears or the feelings or the thoughts which come to a child's mind depend on what were given, what were explained to him about the particular animal. डॉग के पास जाना है कि नहीं जाना, उसको केयर करना है कि उससे डरना है, वो काटेगा या पूंछ हिलाएगा, all of that is what we have fed into a child's mind, right? And that changes the behavior that the child shows when he sees a street dog. There are people who would see a cockroach and they would scream. There are people who would see a cockroach and they would just bring something and make it away, or maybe bring a spray to, and they would act differently. So these are very, very simple examples to show how our thoughts and feelings affect our behavior. So if we need to work on the behavior of people, or if we want to change the way we think or feel in a particular situation, we have to actually work on how we think in that given situation. And the thoughts, because they are learned, we can change them and we can unlearn them and we can modify them as well. Agreed? Is it possible to change your thoughts and modify them? It's not easy, but it's possible. Okay, and for the people for whom it's not easy, our job is to bring them to a point where they actually get convinced that even if it's difficult, I'll work on it and I'll change them and I'll modify them. Right? Okay, so how CBT works? I'll begin with one example. So this is a person T. The person T is feeling overwhelmed at work. He wakes up dreading the work day. When he walks into the office, he's automatically thinking that he'll not be able to tackle the challenges of the work day. So there is an automatic thought. This thought causes him to feel tense and angry. He is often yelling at the employees who work under him. Identify in the given case the unhelpful thought, the negative feelings, and the maladaptive behavior, because we said thought, feeling, and behavior, they are interlinked. So in this given case, just identify the thought, feeling, and behavior. Yes. Miloni wanted to say?
Ma'am.
Mansi. Yes, ma'am.
So, ma'am, I guess the unhelpful thought would be that they won't be able to tackle the challenges of the workday, which leads to negative feelings of feeling tense and angry. And the maladaptive behavior would be yelling at the employees then.
So if we need to apply CBT in this case, we need to first make our client identify that these are the thoughts resulting in this feeling, resulting in this behavior. So if you would work on your thoughts, we would be able to change the way you feel, and then your behavior of yelling is going to get changed. So this person might be referred to the therapist by the employer, that this person comes to office and he starts yelling at his colleagues. So he has a behavioral issue. He might be required to do anger management or behavior management, right? But what you would be managing actually, not the behavior, not the symptom, not the outcome, but the root cause of that, which is the thought and the feeling about the job and about the day. So just one example how CBT works is, you would be going to the root of the problem, and the therapist may apply the guided discovery technique, where you would be asking this person the specific questions about what exactly do you think, what are your thoughts, what kind of feelings do you get, what are the usual behaviors that you show during a day, and when you would be asking him to note down the feelings and the thoughts and the behavior. This is what it is, a discovery that the client would make about the 3 components of what goes on behind a particular behavior. And then we would connect the dots and we would tell them about your feeling of dread and your thoughts of incompetence is leading to your angry behavior. And this awareness itself is enough for the client to be ready to change the feelings and the thoughts and work on himself, rather than Before it, the client would have been coming to you and complaining to you about how my colleagues irritate me, how they upset me, how they frustrate me, how they do not behave well, how they do not perform well, how they're incompetent, inefficient. But now the moment you would tell him about this A, B, and these thoughts, feelings, and behavior, the thoughts of feelings of being dreading coming to school office, and thoughts of not being competent enough about himself, are leading to more anger. And anger is usually, you just take it as an assumption and believe on this assumption that whenever there is an anger, the person is more angry with himself than with the other person. It has some amount of helplessness and frustration involved. So it's about me more than and less about the other person. Okay, so try to find out what is it about the person which is leading to the anger. Okay, so the therapist would first need to work on the client's feelings of incompetence and dread, and then you would be able to cure the anger and hostility. So though you would be approached to be provided with the solutions to deal with people and tackle people and teach me people skill, how can I be more assertive, how can I convey the same thing calmly, the people would remain the same, the situations would remain the same, but the way person is tackling it, the way person is responding to it is going to change based on my now feeling better about myself and my competency. Okay, so how CBT is different, because let's have an understanding of how CBT is different from other techniques. If you go for psychoanalytic therapy, it would be usually dealing with what kind of experiences you had in the past. Okay, so in the past, if you have unresolved conflicts, unfulfilled desires, your ego was suppressed, the superego was highly dominating, and your needs were not met, so all of those things are now becoming the root cause of the concerns that you are experiencing. So that is the psychoanalytic approach. This approach actually takes you back into your past experiences and tries to make you face those suppressed feelings and emotions which you were trying to avoid or not face maybe you were not even aware, and unconsciously you were using defense mechanism of suppression, and you once they are brought to surface, you might feel uncomfortable about it, you might not want to open that chapter of your life also, and it takes time for the client to be ready to open and uh, go into that part of life which they consciously or unconsciously avoiding facing. Okay, so that is the philosophy or the theory of psychoanalysis, where we are digging deep into the past, because we believe that the root of the present problems is deep there in the past, and especially in the unconscious mind. But the CBT, though we also take reference to the past and we go into the past experiences from where the beliefs were created, from where the thoughts were created, and how we come to this rule for life, we do not necessarily dig deeper into this, that this is the reason it was created. We rather come to the point there now, whether it is helpful or not helpful, whether would you like to continue with this belief which is unhelpful and continue looking at the world with this kind of a perspective and framework, or do you think it's possible for you and you are willing to change the perspective and change the way you are looking at people and things and your belief, your rules for life. So we focus on present and future more than the past as compared to psychoanalytic therapy. Anything you would like to ask before I move forward? Okay. So as I just shared, CBT focuses on, though we take reference from the past because the beliefs, rules, assumptions are the root causes, they are the base, So when you are identifying thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, the next step is to identify the belief that the client is carrying, the rules that the client has created for living life about himself, for the people, and for the world around him. ऐसे होना चाहिए. It is done like this. ये सही है, ये गलत है, and जो सही है वो सबके लिए सही है, जो गलत है वो सबके लिए गलत है. So if I believe that something is wrong and anybody who is doing this wrong, I should condemn that person. That person should be penalized. That person should not do it. So the life is governed by rules, shoulds, musts, oughts. and it is absolute necessities for the client, and we need to change the thought process or the confirmation to the clients, or maybe the clients insistence of these rules being absolute necessities, and we need to shift it to being preferences. Okay. Okay, so that is what we need to do. So we are not into a fight with the client or a discussion or argument with the client about whether rules should be there or whether rules are necessary or not, because rules are necessary. Rules make life simple. We are able to live life because we have rules in life, right? Because right now everybody has kept the mic muted. That's why you are able to hear me clearly and properly. If you would not follow this particular rule that one speaker would keep the mic on and everybody else would be muted, there would be chaos here. We would be hearing so much background noises from everybody's home, right? So we follow rules, and rules are important. We would not be against the rules, but what we are against is when they become unhelpful, when they are not helping us lead a normal life or see things positively, when when we are actually awfulizing. We feel that if rules are not met, it's awful, I can't stand it. So that is something which we need to challenge. Okay, so those rules and assumptions, those beliefs about that I can't stand it when people do wrong, I can't stand it when the world is unfair. So that is something which we need to help people accept and understand. Let us discuss rules a little more. So rules are basically rules for living. A rule for living is the behavioral adjustment that a child makes in order to cope with negative messages that they have internalized about themselves as a result of experiences in the family, classroom, or playground. No. In the next slide, I'll be also sharing with you a simple movie, and but before that, just examine your own experiences and the resulting self-defeating behavioral patterns. ये करना ही नहीं चाहिए था मुझे, ये सब मेरी गलती है, ऐसे वाले कौन से रूल्स हैं जो कभी हमने इंटरनलाइज कर लिए हों, बिकॉज हमारे पेरेंट्स ने हमें ये in order to teach us the right behavior and to gain their approval, we learn I should not be doing this, whether it is self-sacrificing, whether it is always finding faults in myself and not the other person, whether it is being a victim in the usual situation or seeing myself as a victim. Is there any behavior of yours or any thought of yours which is actually a self-defeating behavior, where you are feeling low about yourself and not so confident about your self-worth and self-esteem? What is that rule? What is that message that you have internalized?
Ma'am, a simple thing would be probably sleeping well early before a school day. Otherwise, the next day you're going to be having a headache, you won't pay attention. Eventually, your teacher shouts at you, calls for your mother jacks you as well.
I got your voice got disturbed. So if you are sleeping early because you have to get up early next day, how is it a self-defeating behavior?
Self-defeating, I give it as an example in relation to a school. Like I remember as a child, my mom would tuck me into bed by 8:30 no matter what. And had I been late in bed, say maybe 10 o'clock, 10:30, by default, not be able to focus in class or in my tuitions, and the teacher would complain to my mother and my. So that's exactly, I should have 8:30, staying up.
Okay. So whatever I could gain, despite your network issue, because your voice was actually getting very slow in between. So you want to say you developed some anxiety about going to school early in the morning?
No, I developed anxiety about not sleeping on time, or about having, about actually sleeping on time. Because if I have this seen until date that if I do not sleep on time, I'm going to fall sick.
Okay.
Which pretty much ends up happening anyways.
The consequence is that if you would not sleep, you would get headache tomorrow during the day, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And we do it. It's not just sleeping early. It's about बारिश में नहीं भीगना, बीमार हो जाओगे. साइकिल से जाओगे तो गिर जाओगे. तेज मत भागो, गिर जाओगे. So we keep sending these messages to our kids. And our kids will actually start doing this. You say बाहर का गंदा पानी पी लिया, अब देखना जरूर तुम बीमार पड़ोगे, पेट खराब होगा, तुमने स्ट्रीट फूड खा लिया, अब ये होगा. So what are we doing? We are giving them messages that this is going to happen to you, and then it start actually happening to the kids, because kids do not apply any filter when parents say something to them. They believe you like gods. If you are telling it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Right? So this is how rules are being internalized by the kids, and it's also about being a good boy, being a good girl. अच्छे बच्चे ऐसे करते हैं, अच्छे बच्चे ऐसे नहीं करते हैं, and we keep internalizing. हमें ऐसे नहीं बोलना चाहिए था, हमें नहीं मांगना चाहिए था, हमें नहीं करना चाहिए था. So the child stops exploring, the child stops being curious, the child stops being inquisitive about things, the child stops asking questions to why. Child only, मैंने कहा ना इसलिए कर लो. So भाई मम्मा ने कह दिया तो I would never think of why I am doing what I am doing. And then you would be seeing two extremes of parents. There would be one parent who would be giving logic for everything that they are asking the child to do. कि ये ड्रेस क्यों पहनना है और ये क्यों नहीं पहनना है. And there would be another child who would be not asked anything about anything, not given any explanation or logic behind the rules which are created for the family, by the family, for the kids. So we would be required to understand how the rules are internalized by the client, and why the client thinks that cleanliness or coming back home on time, or anything which is internalized as a rule has a base in childhood learning experiences. It's not necessary, as I told you earlier, it's not necessary to completely change the rules of going to bed early, but what we need to do is the self-defeating behavior of getting a headache if you don't sleep early. Right? So we just have to not talk about that, and we have to say it's good if you would sleep early, you would wake up fresh. As simple as that. Let's talk about something which is positive. And altering, adjusting, and updating that rule is required with the clients. Sorry. Yes. So if I rules. Yes, just a minute. I think I need to start sharing the screen again. Just a minute. Huh? It's lost somewhere. Yes. It's difficult to present things on Zoom meetings. I was comfortable with the platform and more comfortable with Google Meet. Resharing again and again. Okay. So this is how rules are created, huh? Boys don't cry. Okay? Are you a girl? Why? Don't behave like a girl. Boys don't cry. बचपन से ही सिखाते हैं कि लड़के रोते हैं। शायद बेहतर होगा अगर हम सिखाएं कि लड़की रुला दे। So So I brought the meeting at a very serious note, but there would be these difficult beliefs that are there instilled in the client's mind, which would be the reason behind the behaviors, which are the concerns because of which they would be referred to you. And you would be required to change and address those beliefs and those rules that they have for themselves, for the people, and for the world. Okay. Anything anybody would like to now tell about something which you have experienced with this? This might be the reason the client was behaving so unreasonably. That learning would have caused that behavior. So just one example. I hope you could hear the audio as well. It was audible.
No, ma'am, it was choppy for me.
हाँ जी बताइए माजिदा दी क्या बताना चाह रहे हैं?
I was saying that maybe the internalized feeling that boys don't cry also got associated with they don't cry because they are strong, and so that gave him the feeling that he can overpower somebody who actually cries and who have the right to cry according to the society. Okay, men don't cry so they are strong, women do so they are not. So I can overpower her.
So the boys were taught it's not to have, the boys are not supposed to have the normal emotion of when they feel what they feel when they were being separated from their parent, when they were not comfortable in a given situation. Their feelings were not acknowledged. They were not given the right to feel those feelings. And then they were prejudiced about feeling a certain way, feeling a particular way, and then again accordingly behave a certain way and particular way. Right?
Yeah, there's a clear gender stereotype across which is culturally driven. So mostly a lot of these thought process come from the cultures. And again, it also shows that men can overpower women. That is another message we generally communicate to families and other places. So gender, the patriarchal nature of culture, everything has influence on that, which influence the thought also.
Very, very rightly said, Anish. Actually, this is the case, and culture driven, there would be a variety of issues which would be because of the culture induced beliefs in the minds of the one of the persons who is in the situation. For example, if you are doing couple therapy and couple counseling, and you are doing marital counseling, and there is a relationship between husband and a wife which is not harmonious, it might be having some linkages with the way the child has been brought up. The either the husband or the wife has been brought up. They were taught about being a certain way, or the kind of relationship they would have seen in the family, or they would have been having about themselves as a husband or as a life partner. So there would be families, girls को ये करना होता है, घर का ध्यान रखना होता है, जॉब पे नहीं जाना है, ऐसे कपड़े नहीं पहने हैं, इन सारे रूल्स को फॉलो करना है. Similarly, even boys are under pressure. It's not that just the girls are under pressure. So if you are not earning more than your wife, it's a shame for you. If you are not earning anything, it's a shame for you. You need to be the breadwinner of the family. So they are also under pressure. So if girls are not good at studies, nobody is bothered. Okay, we'll marry them and they'll be having a perfect life. They'll be taking care of the house and the family. But if the boy is not good in studies, what would happen? तुम क्या करोगे? कैसे तुम अपनी family को चलाओगे? And all that. So they are under a lot of stress and they are under a lot of pressure to be an earning member of the family, as the girls are under the pressure of being a homemaker. So all of these gender stereotypes might be at play, which when we do couple therapy, we need to address that and we need to tell them about. What matters is how you are running together, how you are having a family and running a family together and contributing to each other and complementing each other, rather than being prejudiced about it is your role and you should be doing it and it is my role and I am not ready to change. That is the only concern that comes, that I am not ready to change because what I believe is right, what I think is right. So that thought is something that we would be addressing as the CBT practitioners. Where is my presentation?
So it could be, if I mention that maybe the reason for divorces are going up because of these reasons. The incompatibility is getting more because the girls are also educated and they are also parents are giving them good education and everything, so they are not ready to accept those things which are already been in our society. to pressurize them to work the way the old ladies used to do that before, So social differences are getting more of an issue now because of this only.
Radhika, you brought a really good point, because this is what the client or the client's referral would be talking about. This lady is having a problem because she is not accepting the so-called age-old rules of the society, and that is the cause of the concern. What would you give a recommendation to the client? Accepting the rules?
Not really. Because, when we say that we are educating our children, then they also they expect the same thing from the other people, to respect them for what they are actually, which is not in our society. The females are not given that much of a respect as compared to the male, So they want equal respect and equal status in the society. So that has to be a little bit a molding required from both the ends, actually, not from one side, but both the ends, I should say.
Yes. So good. And thank you for not telling that if girl would accept all the age-old rules, there would be no problems, because it would not have been possible for your client to be actually going and being submissive and accepting everything as it is. She had a mind to think, and she is wise enough to think and take a decision, and she needs and she deserves to be respected, right? So, and that respect is something that we need to teach them, assertiveness, how to earn that, and how to first respect and love themselves. That should be the starting point of everything. And once you start accepting and loving yourself and respecting yourself, even if the other person is not doing it, the change would start happening in how the other person is behaving. So that when you change the way you look at things, when you change the way you look at yourself, the thing you look at means you change. Okay, so it's not just outside, it's also inside. Okay, so let's move from rules to the beliefs. Yes, so these are some of the rules which people actually have for their life. We would be working on them. We would be understanding how to reach to these rules when having discussions with the clients and sessions with the clients. So remember these rules, because they would be working at the base with almost all of the concerns that you would be handling. If I put other people's needs before my own, then they won't reject me. This is what I was talking about when, as a parent, we make our kids internalize. And we were made to internalize these rules, or we learned it ourselves. If I would worry and expect the worst, then I would be prepared when it happens. So if you would be having patients with anxieties, they would be saying, so we need to be prepared na, kal kya bharosa hai, kal kuch bhi ho sakta hai. So we need to be worried today to be ready for a worst tomorrow. ऐसे थोड़ी ना अचानक से जब प्रॉब्लम आएगी तभी थोड़ी ना सॉल्यूशन के बारे में सोचोगे, पहले से तैयारी करके रखोगे. So that is a rule that is internalized. एग्जाम आएगा उस दिन थोड़े ना पढ़ोगे, पहले से पढ़ के रखना पड़ता है, राइट? बट उसकी चिंता में तो नहीं घुलना होता है ना. एग्जाम आ रहे हैं, चलो भाई सब बंद कर दो. That is the thing that we need to check. If I am perfect, then I'll be considered good enough. वो अच्छा बच्चा, good boy syndrome. And if I keep in control, then I'll cope. So things should be under my control. Then things should not be beyond my control. If I keep my emotions to myself, then I'll be seen as strong. तो किसी को बताना नहीं चाहिए कि क्या feel कर रहा है, because people may make fun of me or they call me weak, जो अभी हमने इस movie में देखा, right? If I hit out, then it keeps the aggressors at bay. And this is definitely a reason why people bully others, because they might feel insecure themselves and they feel that if I would be aggressive, so attack is the best defense, and it would keep me safe. So again, that's a rule that they have learned. Okay, if I don't try, then I won't fail. So there are people who would not attempt, who would not make any attempts, who would not actually take part in competition or apply for a particular job because they are fearing failure. So the rule is competition do hi nahi to fail hoenge hi nahi. So there would be no rejection, there would be no failure. Let's do the minimum things. So the people who are not taking initiatives in life, who are not risk takers and not even who are not taking the necessary steps in life, they're actually fearing failure because they might have experienced failure a lot and internalized this as a rule. Then if I don't expect too much of myself, then neither will others. So I accept कि मुझसे नहीं होगा. तो लेट एवरीबॉडी थिंक कि मुझसे नहीं होगा, इट्स फाइन, सिंपल है ना, लाइफ आसान हो गई ना, मैं अपने आप से कुछ उम्मीद रखूंगा ना तुम मुझसे कुछ उम्मीद रखो, बस मुझसे नहीं होता, आई कांट डू दिस, वेरी सिंपल है ना, it's working for me, I'm free of all the expectations. And if I'll avoid intimate relations, I would not get hurt when I would be rejected or the relationship would break. That's another rule. क्योंकि फ्रेंडशिप अगर टूट जाती है तो मुझे बहुत बुरा लगता है, तो मैं फ्रेंड्स बनाते ही नहीं हूँ, इसीलिए, है ना। टाइम टेबल बनाते हैं, फॉलो नहीं कर पाते, इसलिए हमने टाइम टेबल बनाना ही छोड़ दिया। ऐसे करते हैं ना, चेकलिस्ट बनाते हैं, फॉलो नहीं करते, देयर इज नो पॉइंट मेकिंग अ चेकलिस्ट. So we all do it. We all do it, and we all create these kind of rules for ourselves. Then what we will require to do is not challenging all the rules, but just modifying them a bit, changing them to some extent. And what we would be doing is we would be working together with the clients to generate new rules and making them understand that your rule, this present rule, is causing too many problems for you, or it's becoming very, very exhausting to continue following this as a rule, or this rule is now no longer working, it has collapsed, it's not serving you any purpose, please stop following this rule. Okay, so this is what we need to help our client understand about the way things are in life, about the way, for example, the societal norms of a husband and wife, or gender stereotypes. So they are not working and they have collapsed now. Today, girls are not just simple homemakers, they are actually homemakers. What I need to say is they are equal partners and they are sharing your responsibility of bringing money home. So you need to share their responsibility of managing the house and support them and respect them for that, right? And at the same time, we should not be always boasting about it. You are doing it willingly, you are doing it for your happiness. You should not be feeling that everybody should be always acknowledging it or being grateful for it, but just respect, simple respect. So you don't keep praising your husband for earning money for the family. You just respect him as a person because he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. So similarly, what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. So a little bit of understanding, you need to identify who is going overboard, who is not doing enough, who is not being respectful, who deserves more respect in communication, and who needs to modify where. So that understanding you need to provide to the client. And the next thing that you would be addressing as a CBT therapist would be the core beliefs. And we all have heard that statement of the rule is, if you think you can, you are right. If you think you cannot, then also you are right. है ना? हमने सबने पढ़ा है, right? So the beliefs are actually the truth for you, for your life, and what you believe in becomes the truth. So we need to change the beliefs. We need to find out about what are the assumptions which the client is carrying about himself, about others, and about the world. Their assumptions, they mistake them to be facts. अभी जो हमने rules बताए थे, उन्हें लगता है कि these are the facts, whereas they are just the assumptions. They consider them to be true because they are based on their experiences. So something, because I have experienced it about people, about world, about myself, because I have experienced it maybe more than once, multiple times, and then now it has become a rule for me. So it's not my opinion. ये मैंने देखा है, मैंने अपने बाल धूप में नहीं सफेद किए, कहते हैं ना सब लोग. So I have experienced it, so I know it. You cannot challenge what I really know. So they mistake their assumptions to be the facts. And then these assumptions actually control every decision that they take about the life. Because they have seen it, because they know it, now it is going to govern all the decisions and be the cause of all the decisions that they are taking in their life. ये करना है या नहीं करना है would be based on this. So if it is not a helpful belief, if it is not a helpful assumption, if it is a negative assumption which is actually stopping the growth or positive thinking and behavior in life, then we need to help the client identify and modify that. What you see depends not only on what you look at, but also from where you look at. So किसी भी चीज को जब आप different angle से देखते हैं, वो चीज change हो जाती है. It depends on from where you are seeing it. So it also means if you are looking at the situations, at being yourself in the situation, it would have a different meaning. If you would move out of the situation and see it as a third person, you would be able to see it holistically, completely. If you would move into the other person's shoes and see it from that perspective, you would gain a completely different insight about the same situation. And then your understanding, when it would be enhanced, would make you able and empowered to deal with it in a much, much better manner. So, do you want to ask me anything before I move forward? Because मैंने बहुत बोल लिया. Let's hear you also. Is it making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
बहुत
Yes,
ज़्यादा ज्ञान
ma'am.
तो नहीं हो गया है?
नहीं, no.
Okay. So as a therapist, क्या core assumptions आपके पास होनी चाहिए that would help you actually help the clients, जो हम कहते हैं unconditional positive regard होना चाहिए for the client. How would you get that? How would you believe with every client that it is possible to work and bring improvement and changes? These assumptions are going to help you in that. What are these assumptions? There is a situation of anger. And in the situation of anger, usually the assumption of people would be against it. So if you would have this assumption and you are dealing with a case where a person is angry and the person feels that I have a right to feel angry, अगर घर बिखरा हुआ है तो किसको गुस्सा नहीं आएगा, right? आप ऑफिस से लौटो और घर गुस्सा है, घर बिखरा हुआ मिले, चीजें अपनी जगह पर ना मिले, तो किसको गुस्सा नहीं आएगा? The client का belief is correct. आप उसको चैलेंज कर नहीं सकते, तो करेक्ट रूल है, घर साफ सुथरा होना चाहिए, चीजें अपनी जगह पर होनी चाहिए, आप उसको चैलेंज क्यों करोगे? It's the right thing. And so I get angry, so I have the right to be angry. But what we have to tell is, we are the processors of the information. Ghar ganda, it's fine. But you are the processor of this experience rather than a passive victim of the circumstance. Okay? If you have learning an unhelpful way of thinking, you can also change it easily, because what is learned can be unlearned. Okay, so if you have learned this behavior ki ghar ganda hai, it is not a preferred way of behavior, finding it, but gussa aayega hi aayega, it's not a rule. You are not a victim of the situation, you are a processor of this experience. उसी घर को गंदा देख के मैं भी तो बैठी हूँ घर में, मुझे तो नहीं गुस्सा आ रहा है, because I know there is a reason. I am engaged with something more important than keeping things at their place. Maybe I am giving time to my child who is playing right now, and rather than continue playing with him and living in the moment and giving him that experience of joy, of exploring, I should focus on keeping the house prim and proper. Maybe घर में बच्चे होते हैं तो घर ऐसे ही होता है, and we'll sort it out in some time, and then you contribute to that. So you can contribute as an active member of the family rather than being a passive victim of the circumstances that this is how I find my house. So that change in the thought process is required, and that change is possible because something that you have learned can be unlearned. The way you look at the situation can be changed. So when people would adapt a new set of habits, patterns, or behaviors, they have this ability. You have to have a belief that my client has this ability, would be able to choose a new set of habits and patterns and behaviors, and that would change the anger which is coming in that situation, right? Situation of anxiety or depression. The practitioner should have some assumptions about the client that would help him help the client. People are not broken entities who need to be fixed. They just need to be understood. So when you are dealing with people who are in a particular situation which has led to anxiety or depression, if you know the situation, fine. If you do not know the situation, otherwise also, even if it is a clinical condition, just understand they need not be fixed. They just need to be understood. And they also need to understand themselves. Again, if they have learned unhelpful ways of thinking, they can also unlearn them easily. And though we cannot control the thoughts entering our mind, but we can control whether to act on them or not. So if they are having the thoughts of anxiety and which is making them avoid being into social situations, you can train them to decide to act on this thought or to let this thought go and let the new thought come and work on that new and more positive and more helpful thought. Okay, so that is, once you'll have this assumption, you will have the confidence that yes, I can deal with this client of anxiety and depression. The third situation would be relationship issues. So if you are dealing with clients with relationship issues, you need to understand that people are actually receiving a response of their communication based on what was received as a communication. Okay, so the meaning of what I communicate is determined by what you receive from what I say rather than what I think I said. Is it complicated? जो दिखता है वो होता नहीं, वो जो होता है वो दिखता नहीं, ऐसे वाला तो नहीं बन गया स्टेटमेंट?
No, ma'am.
No, I got confused.
I think this translates into it's more about comprehension of how they comprehend what we are communicating rather than just communication.
So communication is a two-way process. And once we know that it's a two-way process, why it is a two-way? मैंने कह दिया तो बात हो गई ना communicate. ऐसे नहीं होता है. बात तब communicate होती है जब वो receive भी उसी manner में हो और उसी meaning के साथ हो जिससे वो कही गई है. ठीक है? And once you would receive it in the same manner, then only the response would come to me as I expected to. Okay? So the meaning of my communication is the response that I get from you. That's what is communicated to you. That's what is received by you. Okay? Now it's clear, Kamini?
Yes, ma'am.
So once you'll understand that there is a relationship issue, so it means what this husband is trying to communicate is not being received as this by the wife, or maybe what the wife is communicating is being received as something else by the husband, and you need to just create that communication channel, right? Our internal world manifests itself in the outside world. Okay, so if there is a chaos internally, if there is a conflict internally, it would be reflected in my behavior outside with people. So as I told you, anger, frustration gets reflected in the behavior, the way you treat others. It starts from inside. Outside things are just the triggers. What we do is we try to control the triggers. We do not control why I'm acting on those small triggers. Okay, what we need to do is make the person strong enough so that वो triggers कुछ कर ना पाए उसका. Hurt people. So if people are hurting the partner in the relationship, it's because they themselves are feeling hurt or they were hurt earlier. So वो अभी हमने rule पढ़ा था ना? If I will not have intimate relationships, I'll not be hurt in a relationship, right? So if I am very detached, if I'm very rude, if I'm not showing my weaknesses, my emotions, that I'm vulnerable, it means I'm afraid of being subject to those emotional weaknesses. So not being vulnerable does not show my strength. It shows my weakness. It shows my fragileness. Okay. What we focus on has an emotional consequence. That is something really important to understand, because the client has a tendency to focus on what is not right in the given situation rather than what is right in the given situation. And then it becomes big. And then they find it beyond their control. And then they lose their temper because things are outside my control. I'm frustrated, I'm irritated, I'm upset. And then these are going to have consequences in the relationship, for the relationship as well. So the meaning of our communication is determined by people, not by us. Being better is better than feeling better. As a counselor, as a professional, your objective is not to help make the client feel better about the way you are saying or the things that you are telling them. WhatsApp और Google वाला ज्ञान नहीं देना है हमें उनको सच भी बताना है कि आप कहाँ गलत कर रहे हो. What is the area, what are the points which you need to focus on, which you need to work upon, but after building the rapport. Okay, so once the rapport is built up, it's your job as a counselor to help them understand that it's not enough to just feel better. Because hota kya hai, I tell about my situation to the whole world and the whole world sympathize with me and tells me हाँ आपके साथ बहुत गलत हो, आपके हस्बैंड को ऐसे नहीं करना चाहिए था, आपकी मम्मी को ऐसे नहीं कहना चाहिए था, आपके फ्रेंड्स को आपको छोड़ना नहीं चाहिए था, या बॉस को ऐसे नहीं करना. So what is happening is, what I'm gaining is the sympathy and I'm feeling better that yes, I was right. but that is not solving the problem. That is not resolving the issues. So your job is not to make them feel better by just hearing them out. The job is also to lead the path and tell them how can they be better at dealing with the situation rather than just feel better about themselves. So the plasters are not going to heal the wounds. You have to apply medicine as well. अब चाहे आप सेवलॉन लगाएं या डेटॉल लगाएं, that's a different thing. कितने प्यार से लगाएंगे और वो कितना चुभेगा, it's a different thing. But plasters are not going to heal the wounds, and your job is not to apply plasters, but to actually work in the healing process. I hope you enjoyed today's class. Any queries, any discussion pointers you want to bring forward, share?
Ma'am, is there any age appropriate for CBT? Like it will not work on older people?
It's difficult to work with older people. I was thinking about younger kids. Younger kids तो बहुत vulnerable होते हैं, बहुत suggestible होते हैं. उनको तो आप worksheets में, games में, stories के through किसी भी तरह से उनके thought process को change कर सकते हैं. They are very, very moldable. The difficult cases would be first your family members. So don't try to apply CBT on your family members or relatives. Okay. Other than that, as a professional, if they are coming to you for therapies, and you would get to know about it, whether it is going to work on those people or not. If they would be very, very rigid about ऐसे नहीं हो सकता, ये तो हम कर ही नहीं सकते, and they would be, you would have these cases and examples of such cases of especially the old age people. और ऐसे में हम क्या करते हैं, हम usually यही होता है घरों में, देखो वो तो बड़े हो गए हैं, उनको तो अब बदल नहीं सकते हैं, तुम ही अपने आप को बदल लो, ऐसे ही समझाया जाता है फैमिली में. तो फिर उस केसेस में आप फैमिली काउंसलिंग कीजिए एंड थोड़ा सा उनको समझाइए, मतलब होपफुली दे वुड अंडरस्टैंड. Not completely, but maybe जैसा हमने कहा ना, रूल्स चेंज करने को कहेंगे तो they would be against you. रूल्स को थोड़ा सा मॉडिफाई करने को कहेंगे तो they may listen to you, and then you can take help of people whom they respect, whom they value, whose words are important and valuable for them. इस तरह से हो सकता है. But actually yes, it is difficult to work on actually old age people to make them change their beliefs. उन्होंने पूरी जिंदगी बिता दी उन सारे रूल्स को फॉलो करते हुए, and it's very difficult to now mold myself as per the new generation. और जो कर पाते हैं वो बहुत सुखी रहते हैं, जो नहीं कर पाते हैं वो बहुत परेशान खुद भी रहते हैं और उनके फैमिली मेंबर्स भी रहते हैं.
Ma'am, so do we need to assess for how long have they had that belief? If that belief has been with them for a very long time, it would be rigid and well placed, and it would be very hard to change.
You can encourage them to start, weakening the belief bit by bit. So ऐसा होगा कि it's like a brick by brick they build that wall. Okay, so you have to shake it also brick by brick and weaken it. So start asking them to start collecting evidences which is actually contradictory to what they were believing on. And the more they would start collecting evidences, then the belief would be shaken and it would not be as strong कि फिर आप उसको break ना कर पाओ या mold ना कर पाओ. So we'll start with starting to collect the evidences against that. Because अभी हमने कहा ना, we start getting evidences for what we believe in, right? So the moment you would ask them to collect evidences for something which is contradictory, when you look for it, you will find it. You find what you look for, right? Yes.
Ma'am, in what age we can give for children we can start giving the CBT therapy, like for children?
सुहेला, हमें बच्चों को थेरेपीज की जरूरत भी नहीं. अगर आप अपने घर के बच्चों की बात कर रहे हो तो हम तो उनको जो कहते हैं वो मान लेते हैं. उनका बिलीफ तो क्रिएट करना ही बहुत आसान है. Parents' words, teachers' words are God's words for them. You just have to tell them, this is the way we need to think. This is a positive way of thinking. This is a negative way of thinking. This is a helpful way of thinking. This is an unhelpful way of thinking. So if you find yourself thinking a negative thought, this is how you change it to a positive thought. This is, if you find yourself thinking an unhelpful thought or doing an unhelpful behavior, these are the thoughts coming to your mind. Can we change it to this thought? So children are very, very suggestible. You can actually start working on children of any age, as a therapist or as a parent or as a teacher. You just need to mold the techniques a bit. उनके साथ वैसे वाला नहीं चलेगा. अच्छा इस जब ये सोच ये you need to do it in a very playful manner as a worksheet, as with pictures, or you may do it with giving examples, references, project storytelling, कुछ भी कर सकते हो. कैरेक्टर का एग्जांपल लेके बता सकते हो, the character is in this situation, अभी ये क्या सोच रहा होगा, इसको कैसा फील हो रहा होगा. The child would answer, and then you would say, what if he starts thinking this way, फिर वो कैसा फील करेगा, फिर वो कैसे behave करेगा. So what is a better way to think and feel and behave? That way you would do CBT with the child. Okay. Hanji Kamini.
Ma'am, in some cases, like you were saying in that slide, psychoanalysis and CBT. So can we use it like simultaneously, you were saying, or we have to just focus on one thing at a time? I did not. Yeah.
If you are not able to bring a change, a desired change after your attempts with therapy, first understand CBT is not a 1 or 2 sessions affair. It is going to take 12 to 20 sessions to go to the deep depth of the beliefs and rules which are so deep rooted in the client's subconscious, and then you would be shaking it, and then you would be molding it and changing it. So if the client is positive and responding to the therapy and bringing those changes and actually reporting to you that yes, now I see things differently and it is helping me a lot, then it's fine. You need not dig deep into कि वो क्यों शुरुआत हुआ था और आपने कब ऐसा पहले सोचा था. But if he is not responding to it, and there is something which is actually unless it would be addressed, the client would not be able to shake or remove that particular fear from his mind. So it would depend on the client's responsibility. कोई बात ऐसी हो सकती है जो बचपन से ऐसी दिमाग में बैठ गई है कि जब तक आप उस चीज को और इशू को एड्रेस नहीं करोगे और उसकी वजह से जो मेरा अपने बारे में बिलीफ बन गया उसको एड्रेस नहीं करोगे, तब तक I would not respond to your therapy. So in that case, you might be required to go for maybe CBT. Sorry, psychoanalysis.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to have all the cameras on till the end, not getting off during the session. I'm having a very good audience who are keeping the camera on. I am happy to see your smiling faces. It shows that you are enjoying the class. I'll try to keep it interesting and enjoyable for all of you. Have just more thinking about it, come up with more ideas, more cases, more questions that would bring life to the classes. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.